we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it?
My name is Jailani Hussein. I'm the Executive Director for the Council on American Islamic Relations Minnesota Chapter, CARE Minnesota, yes. And I'm thanking all of you for taking part today in the call to come and stand with Salam Mosque in Northeast Minneapolis. We are standing in front of the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board. The Minneapolis Park Board has been involved in literally religious discrimination against this mosque. Just to give you some historical background, it's been now 4 years since the mosque has requested for assistance. The mosque is fully owned by the community, and it has, in the past 4 years, I was talking to the imam on my way here. We have first 1-year-olds that are now almost kindergarten age while this issue has been going on. The mayor, Jacob Fry, when he was running for office, he promised to support the mosque. He visited the mosque. Many politicians said that they would help. Now, the mosque is located on Central Avenue, very busy road. In fact, it's extremely dangerous in front of the mosque because speeds can go up to 30 to 40 miles an hour because there's 3 blocks before that where there's no light. In fact, I lived in Columbia Heights for most of my life, and that area is known to be the most area where people actually commit speeding. And if you don't know that, there's Minneapolis police that usually sit inside the parking lot next to a block away, where they literally catch people going up and down that hill area. I don't know if any of you got tickets there, but this is a well-known area. And so the mosque requested a property which is on that corner, which belongs to this park board, to give us an option. Mainly the request has been, can we get safe offloading space or parking or a driveway or something to make sure that the children who attend this mosque do not get hit by cars on Central Avenue. That's it. It's not a parking request. It was just, can we get a safe drop-off zone? Can we even do a land swap? Because the location is not a high value for the Minneapolis Park Board. In fact, the only plan that they have, the Minneapolis Park Board's main plan for this site is for an art installation, meaning they put a statue. That's the only value that they have. Like if they wanted to make something out of it, they put a statue statue. And so we asked them to do something, give us a land swap, which they have done historically, including, I believe, De La Salle High School. They gave away land right next to the river, traded them away. So this was a simple request. And then the mosque, actually, we looked at options. And North Minneapolis actually has a number of areas where it does not have enough parks. So if we bought them a land that would be equivalent, could be saved for parks in North Minneapolis, that would be an option for a trade. Or even just a portion of the land, so that, like I said, to allow. Unfortunately, the city, the park board commissioner for the district, his name is Chris Myers. It is well known Chris Myers does not like cars. In fact, he bikes everywhere. And he projected his politics of biking everywhere against this mosque.
And what? And what? And what? And what? And what? And what? And what?
As the Jilani explained to you guys, inshallah, we deal in this issue for 4 years, more than 4 years. We started 2016 with the former Commissioner Liz, and she denied to meet with us when we asked her to give us, some parking lot next to our mosque. And after that, they elected the Chris Meyer, the Commissioner District #1, and he visited us, the mosque, and we explained to him our need, and we told him our children is in dangerous on the Central Avenue, and he promised to give us solution when he comes to his office officially. And after that, we started, there's a lot of options to swap land, and he gave us the list of houses for San Anthony Parkway, Northeast Minneapolis, to buy the houses, one of them, and tear it down, and give us that land in order to give you this land. And after that, we move on to another place called Broadway Northeast and Industrial Avenue, the big land. They told us, go there and buy the 10,000 square feet in order to give you this land. And unfortunately, the owner of that land, he refused to sell us the piece of land. He said, you have to buy the whole land for, I think, more than $5 million. And after that, the meeting happened on the mosque with the staff and Chris Meyer and some commissioners and more than 250 members of the mosque to request them to give them the solution. That point, Michael Schroeder came to an idea and give us this solution. And they said, we're going to give you 13 parking spots on this area, the similar that we give, the another church on 1970. And they give the plan. When the plan, they come to the commissioners, they ask us to go to the neighborhood in order to give you the letter support. When we go there, there are a lot of community there and a lot of residents, they request to move our center to another place.
End religious. End religious. End religious. End religious. End religious.
maanta waxbaynu ka cabanaynaa waxa meesha isugu keenay waa cabasho waxaan haysanaa masaajid aad muhiim noogu ah oo aanu ku cibaadaysano oo caruurta wax ku baranno oo waxyaabo badan oo muhiim noo aanu ku qabsanno oo marka aanu familada sameynayno reeraha marka aanu sameynayno halkaas ayaa la isugu meheriyaa dhib badan baa naga haysta masaajidkaas baarkin la'aantiisa waa baarkin la'aan weeye waxa aanu meeshan maanta u taagannahay masjidkaas oo kharash badan uu naga galay aadna muhiim noogu ah ayaa waxa naga haysta baarkin la'aan iyadoo oo goobtii u ahayd baarkinka oo u noqon lahayd oo ku fiicnayd baarkinkuna ay ku xigto waxaan jecelnahay cabashadannadu inay gaadho madaxda gobolka ha ahaado gubernatooraha Tim Wall iyo gruubkiisa iyo Minneapolis Barkin gruubkaas iyo cid alla cidii wax ka qaban karta ayaan rabnaa inay maanta gaadho cabashadannadu sida ay community-yada kale ay u helaan xuquuqdooda ayaan rabnaa inaan xuquuqdannada u helo population ballaaran baanu nahay gobolka shaqo badan baanu ka qabanay dhaqaalihiisaanu wax ka bedelnay canshuur bixiyayaal baanu nahay meel aan anigu hadda ka shaqeeyo 1,000 qof oo muslimiin ah ama Soomaaliyihi way ka shaqaysaa sidaa awgeed cabashadannada waxaan aad u jecelnahay mar koobaad iyo mar labaad iyo mar saddexaadba waxaan codsanaynaa inay madaxda gaadho
Salam Mosque children. Salam Mosque children. Black lives. Black lives. Black Muslim lives. Black Muslim lives. Black children lives. Black Muslim children lives. Black Muslims. Black Muslim children's lives.
My name is Mohammed Ibrahim. I'm the Deputy Director with CARE Minnesota. And one thing that I always want to talk about is that oftentimes when we vote people into politics, especially when it comes to minorities and communities of color, we always see what I call the T-mobilization of politics. That every single time when we go back to knock back on the politicians' doors to bring forth the promises or the actions that were promised to our communities, we always get, they always add conditions or rules, and they oftentimes make us go the long way to get to the path that we want to get to, right? And in the case of the Salam Masjid, you've seen and you've heard of all the conditions and the stipulations and the in a manner that actually behooves me, asking them to purchase 3 parking spots for $150,000. Right, that is ridiculous. We're talking about the price of land, right? We're talking about land that would oftentimes cost anywhere between maybe $5,000 to $18,000, and they're being told to pay a price of almost 7 to 8 times of that proportion. That is ridiculous. And oftentimes, if you look at the community where the masjid is in, you see other religious buildings and places of worship that have parking lots, right? But yet we have Salam Mosque, who is the Masjid Salam, that is placed on Central Avenue in a busy road, and the biggest thing that the masjid is asking for is they want to save and make sure that we're protecting the lives of children that are going to go not only to worship but to go learn and also be in community. And all the masjid is asking for is for a place where kids could be dropped off safely. Right, and when these types of requests are made across, the state of Minnesota, they are always met, and the conditions that they're placed upon are not the same conditions that the Salam Masjid has to go through.
But on stolen grounds, right? We are standing on the grounds of the Dakota, Lakota, right? Ho-Chunk, Chippewa communities, Anishinaabe communities, right? This is their land, right? We are asking to live and walk knowing mindfully that we are on their land. We're not trying to beg them to give us our space, right? It's time for them to consider, because on Sunday, we will be remembering 100th year anniversary of what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? Where white racism, white supremacist ideology went and destroyed an entire black prosperous community intentionally, right? The excuse they used at that time was a 17-year-old white woman complained that a 19-year-old black man whistled at her. And they destroyed the entire city that was growing, right? We have seen again and again the rot, right? The kind of craziness that white supremacist ideology produces. We saw it on 38 in Chicago, right? It wasn't just an officer, right? We know that is also white supremacy. We also know what happened in Duluth about 101 years ago, right? The lynching of 3 young African American males. We know what happened in Mankato, right? The lynching of the Lakota people, right? So we know the history of this state, and we want to call these institutions out because they continue to perpetuate, right, both implicit and explicit biases in their practices. And this is one example. Just one example out of the many things that we are hearing from employees who work for the park board, right? The NAACP Minneapolis chapter has collected stories. We want to have a sit down with the park board to address the various ways that our communities have been discriminated.
I am actually here to support Masjid Salam. I know what they're going through when I first got involved in making sure to organize the community and actually reaching out and networking was after our masjid got bombed in Bloomington. And before that incident, we went through a lot of discrimination and we had a lot of harassment, and we always used to really hide in our masjid because we felt like our voices didn't matter, and that our community, we're getting all the harassment but we felt like we couldn't say anything, we couldn't claim our voice. But after that incident happened, for us it was enough. That's when we decided to organize. That's when we decided to reach out to our neighbors and connect with them. That's when we decided to attend every hearing and make sure our voices were heard. And one of the things that we learned is that if you are not there, if you are not at the table, you are on the menu. And so one of the things is that why we're here today as a community in supporting this community and making sure, as that sign says, to protect our kids. Our kids matter more than the grass. They are more matter than, some code or something like that. All the codes and all these systems and policies, they're supposed to serve the human being and the human dignity. And what we're seeing over and over again is that people who are coming from different neighborhoods or different places, making policies and things for people, for neighbors, for human beings that that they don't live with. If it was their church, or if it was their mosque, or if it was their faith center, would they decide the same thing? This is the question. And so we're not asking for handouts. We're not begging. We're going to organize, and we're going to make sure we're at the table and challenge these policies and these systems that continuously let us down. They continuously let us down. And so if the parks were not to serve the people that live there, if you can pray there and you're hoping that your kid doesn't get run by a car because why? You don't have enough space to actually even just come to the mosque. Enough is enough. We are not begging, we are not asking, we are organizing. We're gonna make sure that you hear from us,